Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to go over how to make this awesome, super fun, knitted dishcloth in our fun mitered square. If you guys want to check out the original pattern for this dishcloth, I will link it in the description below. It's super fun I did make a couple of modifications to it, especially through the center here where we add our increases. So we're gonna go over how to do all of that today. To get started, we are gonna use our Bernat Handicrafter cotton in the Stripey. It is this fun purple and turquoise and teal and white called Lavender Meadow. We also need our 4.5mm knitting needles. I grabbed a round set and I will explain why in the video. And we also are going to need 2 small stitch markers. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull my yarn out of the center. Hopefully not making too much of a mess. Yep, it's gonna be a mess. Okay, so you can cast on in any method you desire. We are only casting on 4 stitches, so you can use long tail, you can use straight knitted cast on, anything you like, but we need to cast on 4 stitches. If you guys want an intro for the long tail cast on, I will link it in the description below, as well as some simple, easy cast ons that we've done in other videos. So those will be linked down below as well. And if you guys want to check out the pattern for this video, it will be linked in our blog. Knit our first 2 and then we're going to do an increase. So knit 2, we need to do an increase. So we're going to do a lifted increase, and so to do this we're going to catch the loop from below our needle and then we're going to knit this one through the back loop. Okay, so our increase stitch is going to get knit through the back loop, and now we're going to go ahead and add our first stitch marker. We're actually going to mark the center stitch of our row on each, and then we're going to move it along. Okay, so we started with 5 and now we're going to add another stitch marker. So basically we're just marking that center stitch from both sides. So in the original pattern we just used a straight yarn over, which is fine. I just like not having the holes in the center, so I decided for this one we're going to use a different increase. Now we're adding 2 stitch markers. On the original pattern, it did not tell us to add 2 stitch markers, but I found that I was counting every single row to figure out if I was adding an increase or not. We are going to add increases only on the first stitch marker that we come to. So just before that stitch marker, we're going to add our increase, and that's going to give us our super fun mitered square. Okay, so we're going to knit to the stitch marker, add our increase. So we're going to pick up a stitch here at the bottom, and now we need to twist it. So I'm going to bring my needle around the back, catch it coming forward and through the middle, okay, to give us that twist. Okay, now we're going to knit it through the back loop and lift it off, slip, knit the rest of the row. Okay, slip our stitch markers as needed. As this continues and gets bigger, this is the reason I used the round needles. I started this one here with my standard 4.5mm straight needles, and you can absolutely do that. The only thing is, as we get further along our cloth, we're going to end up getting this bunch happening. It's going to get all wonky and crazy, but that's because we are actually working along the end here with our needles. So both sides of the square are going to be on one needle. It's not going to look right when it's, you know, when it's all on one needle. It's going to look all wonky, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. It does get a little bit tight if you're using just a small, say a 10-inch knitting needle. What I have here is a little bit longer one. This is a round needle. It does make it a little bit easier as we're working through. And as we start to get a little bit larger, I will definitely show you guys what that looks like. But every row is the same for this one, okay? So that's how we get our lovely increases. We knit to the stitch marker, do our increase. All right, so we're knit 3 this time. Okay, now we're gonna pick up below. Okay, pick up our stitch from below and then come around the back, catch the back leg of our new stitch and slip it onto our left needle in a twist. So we've got this twist happening here. And then we're gonna knit through the back loop and knit the rest of the stitches normal all the way across. Okay, we'll do that one more time, and then I will leave you to it while I knit as well the rest of this cloth. All right, so knit again to our stitch marker, and then we'll pick pick up another stitch. So here is our strand that goes across from below. Pick it up. Okay. Bring our needle around the back like so. Insert it front ways, but make sure that your front part of the strand is off the needle and only the back one is on the needle. And then we're going to knit it. So we're going to insert our needles through the back like so and knit. It might be a little bit hard to see here, but I'll go a couple more rows and then I'll show you guys what it's going to look like without seeing or without the yarn over. So it's not going to have the holes like the example one had. I can't really see, but we can kind of see here that there's not really any holes happening. All right, let's keep going. All right, so we're going to keep knitting this for a while until we get to our desired length. So what happens here with our cloth is because we're knitting like all the way up like to the end, it's going to be difficult to tell how big your cloth should be, but I'm going to show you how to measure so that you can decide when to cast off. And we have centimeters and inches here. We will use that. Now keep in mind, this is on the needle and this is on the needle. So it's gonna be like really crazy, okay? So, you know, it's basically like this. It's got this like hump in the middle. It's gonna be all weird when you get to the end, okay? So what we wanna do is basically what I do is I will knit to the center, right? Knit to my stitch markers and then pause. Okay, so now basically I have a needle here and a needle here and everything is looking kind of flat, okay? So then I will take my measuring tape and I will measure from the beginning over here on the left and measure up my side until I get to the cast or the row I'm working on. 8.5 inches is a good size for a cloth. Sometimes I like to do mine around 9 inches. I typically do around 8.5 to 9 inches for my cloths, and so this one is perfect. Right in the realm of where I normally finish off my cloths. Hold on a moment. When we get to that point, I will come back. We'll talk about this nice stretchy cast off that we did for this cloth. All right, so we will be back in a moment. Go ahead and hit the pause on this video and go ahead and knit your cloth, and then we will come back when we're a little bit taller to show you how it looks when it's on like all bunched up in the center, okay? It's gonna be all crazy, so just trust that that's what it's supposed to look like until we cast off, okay? All right, so I'll be back in a moment and we will jump to that point, okay? So give this video a pause and we'll be back. All right, so I really did enjoy working on this mitered square dishcloth with my round needles because it does allow me to show you exactly what it looks like when we bend our round needle here around the side. You can kind of see what is happening with our pattern. Super, super fun. And obviously I've worked a number of rows here and have included, you know, we're kind of at our max size at this point. I think we're at about 9.5 inches, which is plenty big enough for a dishcloth. So we're gonna go ahead and cast off now. We're gonna take our stitch markers out as well and finish off our dishcloth. All right, so let's do a nice stretchy bind off for this pattern. So we are going to knit our first 2 stitches normally, and then we're gonna insert our left needle back into our first 2 stitches. Here, let's zoom in. Okay, so we're inserting our needle back into the front of the first 2 stitches. So we're gonna knit through the back loop for the first 2 stitches, and then we loop off both, okay? So now we've gone from 2 stitches down to 1, and now we're gonna knit the next stitch over, insert our needle back into the front, yarn it around, and knit those 2 together, okay? So continue working our knit stitches across the row. Because we're adding this extra stitch of the knit 2 together, instead of just looping our yarn off the top like we would normally do in a regular bind off, we are making a stretchier edge, which is going to create just a little bit more give in the fabric so that it's easier to use when you use your dishcloth. Okay, give this one a try. It is our stretchy bind off. Knit our second stitch, insert our left needle back through both stitches. So let's pause there. Let's see what the stretchy bind off looks like. See how stretchy we are here. lots of give in our fabric. A regular bind off, which I actually used on a different swatch from the purl stitch video. Yeah, so here is our seed stitch swatch that I used in the purl stitch video, and it just has a regular standard bind off, and you can see like that's it. It only has a little bit of give in it, versus this one that we just finished, we have much more stretch. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and finish this off, and I will show you the finished product. All right, so there we go. Now we can cut off our yarn and weave in our ends. And then we just need to do a little bit of blocking here to finish this off. But there we go, our nice and fun mitered square blanket, or dishcloth. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and share this video with your friends. This one is super, super fun, nice and easy. We talked about our nice increase, and then a nice and stretchy cast off row. So lots of stretch to this dishcloth, and we've got lots of stretch all over the place. So all right, well, I hope you guys like this one. If you guys did, of course, hit the thumbs up button. If you made it all the way to the end here, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.